キラキラしたいだけのただ無駄な惰性なんて捨てちゃってもまたいいまたまたそのよし焼きがついてこれるから Let me know フォーステップで始めるやつみ誰にしてもバンないガンでまくってたらしなにまたがえよかまんないもっと現実パラレルバイ僕のイラスト激まみれのユートピアご招待離れるレスまた付けされた狂ったもん勝ちでしょ少年を笑わせ見つめ合っちゃえばれたやめられない Crazy and noisy and beauty magic 魔法の言葉通り来るわよ Crazy and noisy and beauty magic みんなで一緒にチューミングふかふかベタでおやすみ星にお願い事僕はそうなんだこらこらもう立っていられない天使にお願い事 Could you help me? 絶対的単体的人生も態度が人間を知ってけ引きの場所疑っても構わないどうしようもないくらいに衝動が殺して誰にも邪魔なんてさせない花火咲かせ巻き起こせでしょ思い込み全部壊せ正体を探して見つかっちゃえばねば止めらんない Crazy and noisy and beauty magic 魔法の言葉通り来るわよ Crazy and noisy and beauty magic みんなで一緒にチューミングそれは僕の夢なの不思議な国連れ出したよあれもこれも全部嘘このまんまがいいのね骨でも探して無限大の愛を中羞恥心全部殺せ幻想だってしかない仕方されちゃえばえば飛べるね Crazy and noisy and beauty magic 朝僕全開当たり来るわよ Crazy and noisy and beauty magic あれもう終わりまだまだ Crazy and noisy and beauty magic 朝僕全開当たり来るわよ Crazy and noisy and beauty magic 意味はないそのチューミング
Good evening and welcome back to the Dwarven Fortress of Keskalokil, where we've been trying to deal with a goblin invasion, which was extremely hesitant about actually invading, and we put quite a bit of effort into trying to get them the thing that they had asked for, because they wanted like a 20 dwarf buck copper shield. But we couldn't actually manage to work out how to give it to them. And so eventually they decided to invade the fortress, at which point, we killed them reasonably efficiently. Yes, there was indeed Friday. So yes, what was I saying? I'm getting distracted by people on IRC discussing the music. Yes, it is actually quite a common thing for Japanese vocals to be very squeaky. Just with that group, they can kind of make it work. Usually, I find it a bit annoying.
Still sounded kind of like when the Chipmunks went to metal. I can't.
Yes. I mean, they are also going, yes, substantially faster than is reasonable. Anyway, where were we? Yes, goblins, dead, brackets. We're collecting all the bits as is traditional. We will probably set up, we should make some new pedestals to set up outside the new entrance since the goblins have started arriving by that route. Yes, I should make a few pedestals. We'll make them out of rock because they don't have to be moved very much. We've probably got about 10 goblin heads out of this. So let's make 10 pedestals and see how that goes. And there's also like a bunch of stuff which we can melt down and some which we might even be able to wear. One problem we have is that we got down to like 6 maximally unhappy dwarves last session, and then the siege happened, and
People are probably not happy again.
yeah.
Because either bits have fallen off or there are bits of goblins decorating the fortress.
Yes.
The usual.
So we should probably, if that doesn't improve fairly quickly, do something about it. It has occurred to me that I haven't noticed people admiring furniture very much. So I think there's possibly an argument that we should try to get some better furniture. Oh, and while we've got a very recent save, we should perhaps try asking someone to tame this giant eagle, on the grounds that obviously having a tame giant eagle would be an excellent plan. But last time I tried that, it caused the game to crash. On the other hand, apparently one of the releases since then has fixed a crash in the Linux version whenever you assign a trainer to an animal.
I briefly mispassed that as the wrong kind of trainer, which was
No, not that kind of
a
trainer.
little bit disconcerting.
Same says, what could possibly go wrong? Oh, yes. It's not that someone's going to get eaten.
Probably.
So we do actually have a tame ordinary eagle, which for some reason we've got in a cage. I should work out where that is. Because obviously that should be someone's pet. We can't train it for war, sadly. Where's the giant eagle got to, though? Oh, it's in other, isn't it? It's not yet a pet.
Prometheus that has his eagle. You can pick that pet out by a liver.
Aha, right. I can click that. And the UI is a bit weird, but it's not completely on fire. Let's click on our proficient animal trainer. Right. So I think that giant eagle now has a trainer. I'm not sure if that will work correctly because it's a long time since I've tried to do any animal training. Yes. So yes, I mean, we see Content being near to a waterfall, but no admiring, interested near her own fine bed, but that's something that only seems to happen very occasionally. So I think we might want to try to start doing better. I think actually one thing I'm going to do is try to work out what's going on with the jeweller's workshops, and see if we could start encrusting furniture with jewels instead of trade goods, because we've got quite a lot of highly valuable clothes, etc. But apparently people are admiring their clothes, but not nearly so much admiring their furniture. So what have we got by way of encrust jobs? I mean, obviously they'll encrust all the wrong things, I suppose, is the problem. So we have nominally an encrust finished goods that can be done anywhere, which is a bit weird. Let's remove that one. Can we then, because this is the one that's actually meant to be encrusting. This one is meant to be for cutting gems. Bizarrely, neither of them appears to be a like specific to that. So what can we set? Let's make this greater than 10, but we will then have it operate on 5 of them at a time. So that will make sure we keep a stock of cut gems, and we'll just see. Oh, it looks like there may finally, I note the amount of improvable furniture that isn't a bin. Has it finally been set up that encrusting jobs don't act on bins? Because that would be helpful. A general problem that you ended up with a phenomenal number of bins encrusted with gems, which was not useful.
I mean, things encrusted with gems are not often useful. That's not why you do it.
No, but but bins are generally also not things you can like install somewhere where people will admire them.
I see, not even useful for being pretty.
Because like they're usually in great big stockpiles that people don't visit very often. But let's see what happens. We haven't got enough cut gems at the moment anyway, so I mean, we have quantities of statues kicking around. Are those ones actually installed? Yes. So, like, I'm slightly surprised that we have so little admiring of statues and furniture and so forth. And, like, isn't our entrance door an artifact? Yes, we've got an artifact front door. And while this dwarf, for instance, is interested near a completely sublime trap, they don't actually seem to like be being excited by our artifact front door. Oh, we should tidy this lot up again. Right, no one's doing anything with it. Maybe I should increase the number of crutches in the hospital, so that I don't have to do these one at a time and can just mark the entire stockpile for dumping. Because at the moment we have this thing that if I do that, then I have to carefully unmark the crutch that someone has for some reason dropped in the dead things stockpile. Jutton suggests keeping the shiny bins in the booze stockpile. The problem is that booze isn't kept in bins, booze is kept in barrels. So, like, we would have to have a special rule that said, and shiny bins. And then I don't think you can admire furniture that's not constructed as furniture. I think if it's just sitting around, you can't admire it. It has to be properly set up and stuff. Yes, you can put, I think putting things on pedestals probably helps, and possibly I should put more things on pedestals. I could, like, line the entrance hall with artifacts on pedestals, or in display cases. That's possibly a good plan. We could go, right, where are there artifacts that are... Have I paused filling the... I have, haven't I? Yes, filling the mist generator. Let's increase the number of pedestals we want then. Let's make another 10 pedestals and use them to line the... entrance passageway. Though we seem to be a bit short of rock in stone stockpile number 4. Is that because we've run out of rock, or just because no, people are at stone stockpile 45. Okay, no, there are people hauling rock up to stone stockpile number 4. That's fine. So is someone thinking about training that thing? Eagle doesn't look like it. Possibly the trainer is busy doing something else. Oh yes, we've run out of wood again, haven't we? Let's fell some more. Let's fell the trees that are actually filling gaps in the wall, so that we can replace them with like wall. I assume that people can walk through pedestals, and so it's fine to just line the corridor with them and not worry about them blocking the corridor. Possible we should enlarge that initial stockpile we made in order to make some more space for storing rubbish. Well, not quite rubbish. Stuff. Right, it's fairly easy to make more space there. That might lead to, for instance, crutches not being randomly stored in the body parts stockpile. Might also lead to more demand for bins, which would be unfortunate, but Why is that bag forbidden? Right, so then we should go... So if we choose that, is there a sane way to... I presume I can I search by the name of an item? So can I go... What treasures of the Treaty of Caves are there? That one's a statue and is set up somewhere. That's the symbol of the mare. I feel that we should have like two things that match somehow. But that's probably asking a bit much. I mean, given that we have no count now, possibly sticking Ritanotad on a pedestal would be appropriate. Can I do that? Can't do it like that at least. Can I find it under sceptres? Yes. Right, so we are now sticking that cage actually will probably work better if it's like installed somewhere, won't it? Let's build cages. Cage. I don't know, let's put it round here. That seems a reasonably calm place. It was a lead cage containing a giant eagle. Now there's apparently an albatross fighting with someone. Agitated albatross indeed. Oh yes, there it is. Or rather, there it was. Now there is a dead agitated albatross. Apparently so. Weirdly, they stay agitated even once they're dead. I don't quite know how this is, but...
I mean, I like to be eaten down because the meat's not good to eat or something.
All right, the dead albatross is mostly in the river. I assume that the Forgotten Beast is fighting with the troll and is therefore not my problem. Yes. Right, I have now, I've now enlarged stockpile number 1 so that we have twice as much space in it, because obviously adding a vast number of additional hauling jobs is just what we need right now. Yep, there they are. Is there anything still being installed in the corpse stockpile, or have we finished? 64. No, there's still at least something being moved to corpse stockpile 64. Though it is... Oh, I think he's just put it down. Or she, rather. Now is there anything being moved into corpse stockpile 64? If not, then I can mark the remaining... Oh no, there's something. You're only carrying a tooth. Right, now is there anything being moved into corpse stockpile 64? Because once we're down to nothing being moved there, then I'll go through everything and remark it for dumping. Right, there is now nothing being moved into that stockpile, so possibly after allowing that dwarf to haul the cage through there just in case I catch it. Right, let's now go dump everything in there. Except for anything that's ahead. Actually, I think I would feel more comfortable actually selecting the, especially since it turns out I was failing to do it, turning off dump explicitly on each head. But maybe I'll find it hard to work out where I am if I do that. Sorry, this is slightly tedious, but it's obviously important that
Was there just a goblin whose surname was Doomsank?
possibly...
Did he drown?
Yes, their name was indeed Doomed Sank, but no, because we've managed to find because their head is separated from their body, which is generally not a symptom of drowning.
True. I suppose this is the invasion with the least drowning that you've had in a while.
Yes, because they went and came in by a different route. And possibly I could then construct a bridge that forces them into the correct route. So I think we need more swimming training to make that safe. That's a very odd name. Snamozox. that was the line I just did, wasn't it? Yes. We'll get there in the end. I mean, it feels to me like we should really wash these if we can before we put them on display. Like, being spattered with blood just seems messy. And which line am I meant to be on? I'm meant to be on that line, right. No, I'm not. I'm meant to be on this line. Possibly I should be doing this without being paused because, like, we can let the dwarves get on with things. Well, except I suppose that I have marked everything for dumping and some of the things I don't want to dump. Yeah, okay. I do require that it not be, that people not pick things up before I've checked whether they're heads. Right, there. Now we can unpause. You just walked straight past a granite pedestal with an artifact on display, and you've said nothing about, thought nothing about it. I am slightly sad at that. It suggests that might not work either. Why are we not getting any sparring messages? Is it that everyone is temporarily not training? It looks like it might be, yes, okay. Yes, it's winter, so it's not entirely surprising that we don't have an adequate supply of oil-bearing seeds to crush. It's fine, we do not have a shortage of soap. We briefly had a shortage of soap, but we fixed it. I think that's a dwarf head. Oh no, that's a cat head, right. Well, we should just dump that then, along with the rest of the cat. Anything around here that needs to be unforbidden? Doesn't look like it. Oh, apart from that pile. Things are still being shifted into stockpile number 1. I may have to make it even bigger. As people keep going, oh, here's another object we could store. Why is there a minecart stored there? We've got a special minecart stockpile. I can probably fix that. Gareth discovers how many of the biscuits I've eaten.
Well, you've left a body that I'm not very fond of, and I've already taken half of the chocolate ones to my little pot, so those two are yours. And you've eaten the other ones, haven't you? That's actually
Furniture. Is it furniture? No, tools. Tools. Where are minecarts filed, I wonder? No, they're not there. Are they then furniture? Yes. Right. Let's not store minecarts in that stockpile, because minecarts have their own stockpile.
I would not like to be in charge of piling minecarts on top of each other.
Well, stockpiles are not necessarily piled, to be fair. That lot is all still marked for dumping and just no one's getting round to it. Ah, well. Oh, there's another albatross there. Well, we'll see if it turns out to be...
You can say that's minus J12, where it will make the circular during my 12. But also, if you change it after you start, lessons like minus J at prompt, and make the prompt you go into a number. And you can minus J target line.
What did you just do? Why do you suddenly run southwards? Are you terrified of something? What are you terrified of? Oh, there's another agitated albatross, I see.
Another agitated albatross.
Yes.
Trying to alliterate as hard as possible.
Which is currently chasing a military dwarf and is probably going to be unhappy if it ever catches up. There we go. Still no one getting around to cutting down the trees. Also, there appears to be a human merchant just hanging around here. Someone else has been interrupted by an agitated albatross. Also, there's another dead cat. Well, skeleton, cat skeleton. We don't need to keep that. Right, dead goblins are now being put into the rubbish dump.
I enjoy the extreme vagueness of interrupted by in these Dwarf Fortress messages. It's never quite clear whether the albatross attacked viciously or crept up behind them and went honk or demanded food or...
Yes. I mean, I think it's that they got that the dwarf saw this hostile creature and decided that they would prefer to be somewhere else. Okay, right. We roughly doubled the size of stockpile number 1, and it's full. Like some of the things in there, on the other hand, we could actually do something more useful with, like the coffins. 1, 2, 3. Well, actually, I can just install more coffins until we run out of coffins, can't I? Build, furniture, burial, use closest. Oh, also keep building. Don't think albatrosses go honk, but I could be wrong.
Depends how agitated they are.
Right. So that will clear some space in the stockpile for other stuff.
I just learned that a former name for an albatross was a tube nose.
Thank you. All right, that horse, I think, goes with that merchant. Oh, and we were going to improve the bridge, weren't we, so that we could tell whether it's up or down. Let's fix that. And so that I can get the mechanism back, I'll also demolish the lever and rebuild it. And also, like, we've got an artifact mechanism we can stick into a lever. Though actually artifact mechanisms are often well used for weapon traps. Let's put the artifact mechanism into a weapon trap next to our main entrance, actually. That is apparently the only spare weapon mechanism we have. Slightly to my surprise. Since this is right next to the main entrance, it's quite tempting just to put projectile weapons in there. Like install 10 iron crossbows. Though it now occurs to me that possibly an even better thing would be to see if we've got any artifact weapons that are kind of terrible, like wooden swords and such. I suspect we haven't, though. Those ones appear not to be here anyway. No, we seem to like making artifact mechanisms, but we don't make artifact weapons, right? Well, at least my crazy and noisy and cutie magic earworm has come back. My IRC window is still updating at the moment, so and I've just typed a space into it and then deleted it, so maybe that will cause it not to go weird this time. Not certain though. Right, all of those coffins have been installed. That seems to have been quite prioritised. So if we can now mark that area as a load more tombs. which like has not helped with the stockpile being full, mind. So maybe we should just make it even bigger. Yes, indeed. There's a clock in my IRC client, so it shouldn't. The fact that's not a helpful button, Ben. The fact that I'm not typing anything shouldn't cause my connection to go horribly wrong. Right, let's extend the stockpile that way, so it's twice as big again. Or is that sensible? It'll be fine. If we have to wall it off later because it turns out the river gets in, then we'll do that when it happens. Right, so now we have that bridge removed. Let's build a slightly bigger bridge. It's a very confused bit of user interface, and it should rise leftwards, yes, which I didn't select initially, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Anyway, now that it's more than 1 square wide, we can actually see what happens when we close it. Oh, and we should, if the old lever has been demolished, we should build a new lever. I suspect the other mechanisms are still being transported around. Right, the dead goblins are now being tidied away. Steph asks, do dwarves need light at all? Not as far as we can tell. Indeed, they often find sunlight quite upsetting. One of the reasons you might want to expose them to light is simply so that they're not so upset when they get exposed to it. Because, like, if they don't experience daylight very often, then they'll tend to be ill when they first come out to see it. But if they do experience daylight frequently, they get inured to it, or possibly don't get adapted to being in caves, and so are less likely to be upset when they come out into the daylight for the first time. So yes, we believe that they certainly don't generally require daylight, and they possibly don't bother with artificial light at all, though we aren't explicitly told either way, I don't think. Yes. Well, forgotten beasts, I think, don't eat in the same way that goblins and elves don't eat.
Is that why they keep giving you tribute of cheese? They weren't using it.
Possibly. Humans eat and dwarves eat, but I think elves don't, and goblins don't, and vampires don't, of course. Right, so is that now just heads there? head, 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 tooth. Oh, still being dumped. Head, head, head,
That
head,
belonged to a goblin with such a very long and
head.
complicated name, no wonder it lost a tooth.
Yes.
I might lose a tooth just trying to say that.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, we're going to need more pedestals because I was intending to put 10 pedestals in that corridor, though maybe those aren't useful. Oh no, interested near a fine display furniture, interested after viewing Ritan Otad Rubol Isos on display. Right, okay, that is actually working. I mean, interested is not very helpful, but it's better than nothing. So that probably does mean we want about another 10 pedestals again. Jitten says, I get the impression that only a few creatures, dwarves, humans and grazing beasts, are cursed with the need for sustenance. Yes, yes, indeed, quite a lot of domestic animals don't need feeding either, though you can feed them. This is how you train them, for instance. So they may not need sustenance, but they apparently still enjoy it. Right, even larger stockpile number 1, which will now spawn another run of jobs to put things in it. This might give us some idea, though, of what stuff we have. And whether there are any things we have too many of, which would appear to be bags. Far too many bags. Right, so that lever has been installed. Now we can relink it to that bridge again. Oh, do we only load one bolt into each crossbow? I suppose that's reasonable. Like a self-reloading crossbow would be quite an impressive piece of technology, really. Right, so we should probably install some more pedestals. And we should obviously, for this purpose, prefer the high quality ones. And then stick some low quality pedestals outside the walls. that. We appear to have just created a masterwork pedestal, so that should obviously go indoors. Still have far too much stuff that needs to be disposed of before we can actually get this butcher shop working. Maybe I should have just checked if there's stuff in here that obviously needs to be disposed of so that it doesn't just get moved into the body part stockpile one item at a time. That looks fine now. More people have found an albatross. Oh, that task got suspended. Let's unsuspend it. And a pedestal has not been built because, unsurprisingly, there was someone in the way. Actually, apparently because there was a toy in the way. There was a forbidden toy in the way. Well, let's unforbid the toy and see if that makes life any better. The wombat is fighting. I think the wombat has accidentally run across one of our weapon traps. Poor wombat. Sorry, wombat. We didn't actually mean to catch wildlife in our weapon traps. We're trying to catch goblins. Sorry?
The weapon trap isn't very smart, it can't tell the difference.
Yes, indeed. On the subject of needing sustenance, how long has this human merchant been hanging around? Right, so we're getting Ngozo Nobdeboza, that's a name I might even be able to remember, should have their head displayed.
Should have their head examined, surely.
kind of assuming it's at the bottom of the list. There's an argument I should have scrolled down there first. Agitated giant hamster. That's a little alarming. Axmu Astralkirk. Nguzlu Ustrumosp. Gosru Buxostosp. It's not helpful. So we need two more, I think. Statos Ngebosom. Humpty Dumpty Dum. Stasos Ngebosom. And Kutzmob Urerzom. Kutzmob is an odd name. Kutzmob Urerzom, I think I said. Oh, there it is, yes. Right, the dwarven child is causing some fairly serious injuries to the unfortunate mare. I think the mare is going to...
Without being able to beat up someone in charge.
Yes. I think the mare is going to have to go to hospital. Possibly. Let's just look them up. Male. Yes, they are indeed trying to rest because someone's broken their arm. Well, I hope someone will diagnose them soon. Meanwhile, oh, have we finally? No, there are still still seems to be people bringing stuff up here. It is still mostly bags. Right, I thought most kinds of bags could be stored in bins, so I'm a bit confused. This stockpile does permit bins, doesn't it? Yes.
I'm curious about these faces here. Are these dwarves embedded in a wall?
No, those are pictures of dwarves,
Ah, right.
or carved into the wall. See, we have a finely designed image of a dwarf and the earring that they created.
Inconvenient cathedral. Ow, who left that lying around? Did it be a Berlusconi who was hit on the head by someone throwing a model of Milan Cathedral or something?
This is an agitated giant hamster tail.
Do giant hamsters have tails?
Presumably very small ones, but it's possible that well, that one weighs 2 kilos apparently. So I don't think the giant. I will save the hamster tail for a bit in case someone decides they need to butcher it.
First hit in the face by someone throwing a metal miniature of Milan Cathedral at him. What? I mean, it's something to do with it.
It's also where we find feathers, dispose of them. Great horned owl probably not going to get butchered, but we'll see. So, oh yes, we had that thing that we had a caged eagle somewhere in here, didn't we? Oh, our stray giant eagle is merely semi-wild at the moment. I think we want to keep them in the cage for a little longer. The stray eagle is fully tamed, and so it's obviously silly that that's in its cage. I think for this purpose, we have to build the cage and then detach the creature from it. And of course the cages are filed by what they're made of, not what's in them. So if the dwarves are beginning to calm down a bit, We do still have some jobs to do, but there aren't that many of them. Then maybe we should engrave some more of the outside of the walls. Well, it's quite hard to say engrave only the outside of this wall, because you can just say engrave the wall and it engraves from whichever side is most conveniently accessible. Right. Also, we should fill in the gaps in this wall now. We got any siltstone blocks, because that was what we mostly made it out of. Yes. I'm slightly concerned that we might be just like producing indefinite quantities of rock blocks without considering that we should perhaps stop making them at some point. Oh no, we do actually appear to have deliberately stopped making them. Right, that's fine then. Possibly. Like, I'm now slightly worried that we may not that may not be the only make blocks job. No, it looks like it is. Good. Right, we do actually have logs now at least, which is nice. So some dwarves are going to have to reroute when that wall gets filled in. I bet there's a pile of logs on top of the wall as well, yes. I mean, we could actually provide access to the top of the wall from the inside, I suppose. Though I kind of worry that would make it slightly too easy for people to climb over the wall. I mean, I'm not sure that should. What's that capital B there? Oh, an agitated giant blue jay skeleton. How nice. Okay, we do appear to have successfully... it does appear that we can butcher agitated albatrosses at least, but not great horned owls. Nut roasts. We are quite good at masterwork nut roasts here. Right, well, we've engraved another section of wall mostly. Everyone seems to just be drawing their own favourite things on the wall, which is fine. including some icosahedral icosahedra.
Best kind. I mean, surely if you made people draw pictures of things they didn't like, you wouldn't get such good art.
Yes, it's true. I think we don't have much restriction on who can carve things on the walls, so... Oh, there's something rotting. Let's dispose of that before it stinks the place up too much. Don't think we need a single hamster tooth. It looks like that hamster paw might actually be butcherable. What other treasures do we have? So that's already on a pedestal somewhere. Is there a sensible way to just go, I want to install some kind of artifact? But this doesn't have a way to sort by quality. No. That will make life far too easy. So Twisted Tested is on a pedestal already. Pair of Legend is a family heirloom, but is also the main entrance to the fortress. United Rhyme is in a random bin. Right, it is a siltstone figurine of a lizard man. Right, let's put that on that pedestal. Right, the wall now no longer has random trees in the middle of it. The lever is linked. Let's change its name again. And try pulling it, though there's a slight danger that someone will be standing on it when that happens. Is this miasma from anything?
The news story about finding a Victorian soft bottle at a dig as part of a Manchester Grafton shopping centre into labs and offices. Labs and offices. What were you talking about? Shopping centres? I heard you say labs. I'm very confused.
Right, so the west gate will close at some point, possibly hurling a dwarf into the air, if the timing's wrong.
I was going to say that seems like the thing where you want some kind of giant warning klaxon at the point where
Yes.
planned but not yet done. But surely, if I know your dwarves, they wouldn't listen to warning klaxons anyway.
Yes.
Possibly even wander towards them and go, oh, I wonder what that noise is. Come on.
Right, there we go. And that now we can tell the difference between open and closed, and it closes in the correct direction. So that's nice. Let's open it again because there's currently someone locked on the wrong side of it. Of course, now that it's of non-zero size, when it opens, it can crush things underneath it as well in proper NetHack style. We could, I suppose, dig a trench so that you can't get crushed underneath it. That might be good. Right, there we go, and back open again.
It's traditional for large mechanised doors and gates and things in character cell-oriented games to be unbelievably dangerous for no very obvious reason.
I mean, possibly I could have made it open outwards instead, which would have been meant that it was more prone to killing goblins and less prone to killing dwarves. But actually, yes, we could possibly just close it. Well, next time we close it, we'll dig a trench under it before we reopen it. And then it won't be possible to stand in the place where it would crush you. And that will probably be helpful. Anyway, we probably need more pedestals out here, and indeed indoors. Also, there's something. Oh, all right, okay. That albatross corpse didn't manage to get processed quick enough. Right, I think we should try to sort out dwarven happiness a bit. So we have Eral Thingamy, who is in need of being put in to the Lardy Larks. So they will have to be removed from their existing squad first, I think. I'm not sure we can do that while their squad has anyone else in it. Oh, maybe we can. But we should probably go for someone competent who is currently further down the list of some other squad. Then we can appoint Eral Thingamy to the Lardy Larks. I mean, you look like you ought to be able to be reasonably happy, but you have a lot of things you haven't been able to do recently. So my hope is that by releasing you from your from any other obligations, you might actually be able to do some of those things. Why am I looking there? I have no idea. Let's see who else we've got. Kogan Kibor is probably not on the list. Possibly we should go through each of these that are on the list and go, are they in that top 12? So Degel is not there. So they could be replaced with Kogan Kibor. But I think I can't type into that box. Yes, because I end up typing into the wrong box. But if I do that, then we can find them. Endok Muskatnikus. But first, Erosh is not currently. Indeed, actually what we could do is just scroll through here and go, who is there that is in military mode? And the answer is Momuz. Was Momuz on this list? No, I think they're in an ordinary squad. Goden is in an ordinary squad because they're patrolling, and Udil Lasfeb is at least actually in the Lardy Larks. So aside from Udil Lasfeb, everyone else should be replaced. So Endok. That means we're going to need a new leader for whichever. No, that's position 2. Well, we should still recruit someone into there. Maybe we shouldn't do it in this order. So Raul Lularuzol. So it looks like a lot of the people who got upset were actually members of other military squads. Momuz wants to be there, Raul wants to be there, Eral wants to be there, Udil wants to be there, but Moldath, Id, Domas and Dodok are not in that list. Okay. Clicking remove assignment doesn't work because of that window behind us. If I remove them, then I won't forget that they're the ones I want to remove. Right. And then who do we want to put in their place? Ushria is not currently on the list. Ushria and Goden and Imush. Right, and is that everyone? I've got them in the wrong order, so it's going to be awkward to check. But like they would keep reordering themselves anyway. Eral, yes. Kogan, yes. Endok, yes. Ral, yes. Momuz, yes. Goden, yes. Ushria, yes. Udil, yes. Erith, I think Erith is missing still, yes. And Imush, yes.
In a combat role regardless.
Was that Erith? Was Erith Crossstam? I think so. I'll check. Yes. So yes, it does seem that it's simply that being in the military is quite bad for your mental health.
Except when it's the Lardy Larks whose precise purpose is to
Is to help them relax, really. enforced relaxation.
Yes, yes.
Meanwhile, since that's left some gaps in our actual military, we should pick some people who may not be much good. Some of them are, though. And just let's go for ones who don't have much by way of special tasks. Hurl them in there so that they can at least get some training. I mean, I suspect you get novice fighter by getting into fights with small children occasionally. Splatter the Lyrical Seas of Turmoil has no members. We will sort out the swimming later once we've dealt with the depression problem. Possibly the rot problem. What's rotting now? There are apparently some giant hamsters around. I haven't seen them.
They're too large to see.
I just know about them because bits of them keep turning up in the meat processing industry. Okay, I'm not quite sure where that miasma's coming from. But a Tearsal peregrine head is almost certainly unusable. Okay, what are we butchering now, I wonder? Not clear. Maybe nothing. Right. So the Lardy Larks are reorganised and will probably be busy cheering people up as we speak. I think someone just got themselves off the list there. Pretty decent drink. Interested near a fine floor hatch. Interested after learning about surgery. Is at least getting somewhere. What are you hauling? Ah, right, it's only a skeleton. But hey, more bones. And to be fair, it's not like we need meat for anything. Mostly I'd like the leather. Where's that giant eagle got to? It's still semi-wild. It's not... Well, I mean, we could say it's available as a pet. Oh, I didn't mean slaughter. Pet. Buttons right next to one another. Oh, we've got a load of cats that need gelding before we end up with too many of them. Possibly we have slightly too many turkeys as well. Let's just see how old the oldest stray animals are. Only 9 years. We can wait a bit. It's a new year. Time for a save. That means we can start planting rock nuts again. Right. Oh, we've found a bunch of animals dead. I'm going to assume that that's just of old age. Some useless tribute has arrived. And with it spring. Here are the tribute trees. One mace dwarf and one merchant. Oh, and a vile force of darkness. Well, I mean, I did turn up the difficulty a bit because it was all getting a bit trivial. Where are they then? Have they not quite materialised yet? Oh, there they are. It's the usual tiny squad of goblin crossbowmen who might well just flee. They don't seem to be fleeing. They do seem to be moving in an odd direction, so maybe they are fleeing, but not the same way they came in. I think they're busy engaging the local wildlife. They seem to be shooting something. Doesn't seem to be any wildlife around there, though. Oh, right, yes, they found some wildlife. They found 2 giant wild boars. And we have the traditional goblin thieves up there. It would be helpful if I could like see who is currently on patrol conveniently. So they seem to have just encountered a random bone doctor, and I want to see how that's gone. Appears to be, well, I mean, I think they're having fun, but neither of them is going to get seriously injured by this. The biggest danger is someone will drown. And now here comes like an actual military wasp name. There's still a danger that someone will drown. Indeed. Oh look, there's a drowning goblin. I think there's also a goblin who has encountered one of our many weapon traps. Yes. And also a wrestler. Do they even have a weapon? They do have a spear. Why does that auto pause button not do anything? I think that's a dead snatcher. I think there should now be no goblin thieves on the list. Yes, the number of invaders is indeed tiny. And they're still busy hunting wild boar. It's like, I'm quite happy for them to use up their ammunition on that. I'm mostly slightly worried that someone will decide to go out and try to collect the corpses of the boars. Let's try to distract them by allowing them to collect the various stuff that goblin's left behind. That lot is underwater and so less likely to be useful. Have you managed to get injured, you silly goblin? Yes. Right, yes, you actually...
A goblin came to invade you and turned out the local wildlife.
yes. So like, it started all right, and then the agitated giant wild boar kicks the goblin bowman. And then, like, charges the goblin bowman and stabs them with a tusk and rips off their foot. And yes, don't get into a fight with a with a giant wild boar. They're terrifying. At least if you're a small goblin with a crossbow and very little armour. We now have wombat bone bracelets in stock, and apparently we have a report on some probably terrible incoming. Oh, a steel pick, that's quite nice. A giant silver axe blade. Well, we could probably put that into a trap. 5 horse cheese. Well, that's probably for the best. And it's not like we're going to object to a pair of leather mittens either. Okay, that was some quite nice tribute.
What race are those people?
Dwarves.
Right. I'm testing the hypothesis that people who bring you cheese tribute are the ones who don't eat. Which that seems to not quite be consistent.
No. Okay, a couple of dwarves have managed to engage a wild boar. Which means that at some point, I think I'm going to have to send some military out here just in case, like, the dwarves who keep getting, who are going out there to collect the dead boar, end up accidentally getting engaged with the, you've got into a fight with a cat apparently. Alright, yes. You're just in a fist fight with a wild boar, and that's silly.
The boar was having trouble breathing. I think he was doing okay.
Yes, I mean, I'm not suggesting that that you won't come out the better of this fist fight, but it's still a silly way to deal with an enraged, dangerous animal.
There is that.
Also, like, there's an approaching goblin army that we might want to do something about, and it looks like someone else is going to come along to try to... When I say goblin army, how many of them have we still got? Oh, 1. Okay. There's an...
Approaching goblin.
Yes. Okay, maybe 3 dwarves, 3 unarmed. Wow. I think the goblin may possibly just have kicked that wild boar in the teeth or something, or possibly vice versa. All right, the goblin bowmen may possibly have run out of arrows because they've started bashing the goblin with the bow, which turns out to be an excellent way to knock teeth out of a wild boar, which, given the viciousness of their tusks, might be reasonable. Yes, okay. The remaining goblin bowman has used up all their arrows shooting at the wild boar. I'm not too worried about what they might experience if they meet one of our dwarves. I am slightly worried by the fact that those 2 dwarves do both appear to have broken legs, though, so I think I am going to, or at least they're both lying down, so I think I'm going to say we have a member of the Ageless Inks up here. Let's just ask all of the Ageless Inks to come down here and try to deal with these boar. And like possibly the goblin as well, but frankly the goblin is less dangerous. Now, the reason I asked your squad, the Ageless Inks, of which you are a member, to go down there was in part because you were nearby. Don't walk away. Okay, it looks like the wild boar has gone after someone else. That's good. All right, you're just collapsing to the ground from overexertion, and then going back to punching goblins. All right, the goblin seems to have been killed. That was Damasto Busmump thing. How did the goblin die? All right, someone actually turned up with a weapon. I mean, I appreciate that is kind of cheating. And the last of the giant wild boar has been killed as well, I think. Yep, good. Right, that's that siege dealt with. Oh, another vile force of darkness.
Maybe this is the second half of the first file force of darkness.
Which appears to consist of 3 goblin archers of some sort. Okay, slightly more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and possibly, and also 4 thieves. Is that all of them? I mean, they are at least doing a pretty effective job of shooting at our Mark's dwarf, who, like, almost certainly doesn't actually have a ranged weapon. But, like, that's also a good way for them to waste their ammunition, because most of them are missing. As a temporary measure, I'm going to forbid all of the stuff on this side of the river to discourage dwarves from trying to come over here and collect it. Right, I think this job calls for summoning. I think so. It doesn't seem to be a convenient pile of wildlife for this lot. I think I'm going to say all military dwarves to attempt to amass on the far side of the East River. Oops, that wasn't what I meant. Oh, I think I'm getting the user interface confused again. There we go. This dwarf appears to have decided that they need to be there quickly and has now got distracted. Look, you do actually have a station order, you know. No, you've decided you need to get some food before you go over there. I mean, we're not doing very well at all turning up at once. We've got one swords dwarf heading over at the moment. Like, admittedly, one swords dwarf is probably, I mean, one might be a bit pushing it to win a battle against this lot, but 2 or 3 and we could probably take them. Sadly, 1 is the number we're going to have. Let's see how they do. Oh, here comes a reinforcement. Here comes a reinforcement. Right, so just before the reinforcement arrives, our axe dwarf is tired but otherwise uninjured. Claims 4 goblin kills. And yes, has mostly been applying an axe to any bits of goblin that might happen to be nearby, and mostly being missed by, well, entirely being missed apparently. Oh, occasionally managing to block with their shield, but mostly just the crossbow bolts sail past. On the other hand, this dwarf seems to have got themselves injured. They are only an adequate spear dwarf. What are they wearing? I think they were properly equipped. Yes. What happened to you? All right, you did actually get successfully shot. I mean, the crossbow bolt didn't penetrate your leg. It was deflected by your boots. Oh, there's some tea here for me. Would explain why I was a bit thirsty earlier. And yes, that does sit, while the boot protected them from a piercing injury, it did. The crossbow bolt was heavy enough to nonetheless injure their leg quite badly, so they're now not quite able to walk. Happily, they're being accompanied by a pretty decent swords dwarf. So where are the remaining goblins? There are still some of them down there. Looks to me like these three, we've now got a third one has joined us, should be adequate to take out the rest of the goblins.
What deal with the goblin thieves? I remember those used to sometimes be a problem in the old days. I remember one at least getting some distance towards making off with a...
Yes, I don't know where this lot have got to.
Presumably they had trouble getting over the river just like the rest of the goblins.
Yeah, I think their usual failure mode is that they fall in the river, or they encounter, because around here we've got lots of weapon traps, so they also tend to get themselves caught on the weapon traps. And the weapon traps are quite capable of detecting them even if no one sees them. So that's what seems to have happened here. And there's an enormous mob of dwarves turning up now, just as the party's finishing. Don't fall in the pond. Or the river. Right, I think that's all of the invading goblins part 2 dealt with. Yes. So now we can unforbid all the stuff on this side of the river. You seem to have a forbidden cage here. And a forbidden mechanism. Let's unforbid those. And then they can get stored somewhere more sensible. Oh, that was probably from someone pushing over the trap, wasn't it? Yes, I think we should stop in a moment. Like, there's a lot of tidying up from 2 more goblin invasions to do.
One of them was tiny.
Both of them were pretty tiny. You got hurt. Like, we've got a couple of people with markings which suggest they've been injured. I think those may not be recent injuries. That was a bruise. Yes, we can see the armour doing a pretty decent job of keeping crossbow bolts out, which is nice. What are you up to? Alright, you're apparently patrolling, but actually going somewhere weird. Right, and we can see the efficient dwarves are already carrying the dead goblins back to the fortress for disposal. That's nice, in a sense.
Lots of effort to have to
Well, we don't.
You're right next to the edge of the world. You could sort of chuck them off the edge of the map.
We could try. I mean, I think we could try building a system for launching objects off the map, but I'm not sure it works. I have a horrible feeling that things will just go splat into the edge of the map. But obviously we should test this.
I mean, it's one of those forms of words, isn't it? Build a system for launching whatever it is. It sounds like a laugh.
Right, so yes, it is 20 past midnight. The dwarves are having fun hauling dead goblins back into the well, more or less into the fortress. We've started training a giant eagle, and well, it's now. I don't actually appear to have a way to get from the occupant. Oh, and we've constructed this, and we wanted to free that eagle, didn't we? Let's do that, so that then someone could adopt it as a pet. Because obviously someone in this place must want a pet eagle.
Good night.
Right, but beyond that, I think everything is kind of under control, and so we should stop for the night and say good night. So the usual sequence of save and find the button that says good night on it and click it. Good night.